Hi, this is Jenny Brav of Radiant Wholeness Healing, and today we're exploring how to better access your inner knowing. If you're anything like me, this is both one of the most rewarding things and also one of the most difficult. And I know for me, it's been a journey and continues to be a journey. In 2010, I was working for the UN in Nepal, and back then that's what I did. I was doing international humanitarian work, and I was at a crossroads. My job and my position was ending, my relationship was ending, and I could have gotten another position with the UN, but it was a political position. It wasn't really where my heart was. And I'd been feeling called for quite a while to go to the Bay Area to study holistic healing, but I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. And I sat down and I did some automatic writing. And back then, I didn't really have a lot of spiritual practices. I had done some meditation, but that wasn't my life at all. But I had grown up journaling, writing. My family's very literary, very intellectual. Writing is one of the ways that we express ourselves. And so I just wrote down a question and then channeled the answer. And it wasn't a clear cut, go to the Bay Area, study holistic healing, but it did really help me clarify what the cost of continuing to do what I was doing was, especially to my health, my physical health, because I had been feeling for a while that something wasn't quite aligned. And so I took a big leap of faith. I had been living with my partner in Italy at the time, and that was ending. So I packed everything up, and my stuff was in 5 boxes, and I went to the Bay Area. Had been maybe 4 or 5 years that every time I was interested in something, it was always in Berkeley or San Francisco. And so that's how I ended up in 2010 in the Bay Area studying holistic healing. And since then, I love my life. I've set up a practice and really feel like I can include every part of me in it. And it has been quite a journey. And I've been experimenting ever since then with lots of different ways to access my wise self, as I call her. I still writing is one of the principal ways, but also meditating, being out in nature, sometimes when I'm cooking. Water is one of my main conduits for accessing my knowing. So if I'm near a waterfall or taking a shower or swimming. And so one of the things that I really want to impart is that accessing one's own knowing is our birthright. This is really how we're meant to be guided through life. And it looks different for every single one of us. And in my experience, one of the biggest blocks to accessing our knowing is both that it's not really encouraged in our society. It's a very rationalist society that encourages thinking and pros and cons, weighing those out and figuring it out with our minds. So I think that's one of them. But the other is this idea that accessing our inner knowing is supposed to look a certain way. And it doesn't, it's different for everyone. So part of the journey is really learning your particular way of connecting to that gut feeling, that gut knowing. So it could be dancing, listening to music, running, writing, meditating, anything you love to do where you really feel in the flow, bungee jumping, rock climbing, paragliding, speed racing, and not to confuse necessarily always being in speed or something connected to an adrenaline rush, but really when you're having a feeling of being in the zone, being in the flow of things coming through you, all of that for me is accessing your inner knowing. So having said that, we're first going to drop in, see what some of the blocks might be. We'll do a little bit of tapping. And then in the next video, we're going to go on a journey to meet an internal guide that can help you with really hearing that internal information more. So dropping in, you can close your eyes if that's helpful. You can be seated, lying down, whatever is comfortable. And I invite you to feel into this desire to connect more deeply to your inner wisdom. Just taking nice slow breaths. And as you do, noticing what that brings up for you. If any part of you gets excited, expansive, if any part of you gets contracted, tight, any physical sensation. Noticing any emotions that are present. It might be frustration, fear, confusion, powerlessness, just whatever's here. Noticing if there are any beliefs present about your ability to hear, or any issues around trusting yourself, trusting the knowing, trusting your intuition. And projecting back in time, noticing any messages you received. Were you encouraged, discouraged? Did you learn to trust other people's knowing over your own? Often when we start school, that can be a time when we start disconnecting from our own knowing and giving a lot of power to people in authority. Or perhaps going into rebellion, but that can also pull us out of ourselves. So just noticing what's here. When you're ready, you can open your eyes or keep them closed, tapping on the side of your hand. You're going to repeat after me, feeling free to modify the words. Even though part of me really wants to access my intuition. And part of me isn't sure how, doesn't think I can trust my intuition. I've trusted it before and it's let me down. I love and accept myself deeply and completely. Head. This part of me that really wants to trust my intuition. Inside of the eyebrows, I see you. Outside of the eyes, I acknowledge you. Under the eyes, it has felt so good when I have heard it. Under and above the lips, and followed it. Under the collarbone, and everything fell into place. Middle of the sternum, ribs. Of course, I want more of that. Side of the body. And I also acknowledge the part of me. Wrist, inside and outside. That doesn't know how. Other wrist isn't sure what's my fear. Head. What's my intuition? Inside of the eyebrows, which just thoughts in my head. Outside of the eyes. Sometimes it's really hard to discern. Under the eyes. So complicated. Under and above the lips, deep breath. Make noise on the exhale. Ah. Under the collarbone. And I acknowledge the part of me that's scared. Middle of the sternum has felt betrayed. Ribs has trusted my intuition before and it felt like it let me down. Side of the body. Take a deep breath. Inside and outside of the wrist. High fear. Other wrist. High mistrust. All over the head. High part of me that got the message. Inside of the eyebrows. That to get approval. Outside of the eyes. And acknowledgement. Under the eyes. I needed to trust others knowing. Under and above the lips. Others' information. Deep breath. Under the collarbone. Of course, there's fear. Middle of the sternum. I'm going to have you not repeat the next part and close your eyes. You can keep tapping or stop tapping, whatever feels good. I will be naming the points. Ribs. And check in with whatever messages you might have received. Could have been directly about your intuition, but it could have been also indirectly just learning to disconnect from yourself, your needs, your body, in order to be an open book, a clean slate to take in other people's knowledge, rules, side of the body. This could be at home with peers, wanting to get accepted. It could be with teachers, doing a sport or a practice, being coached. Whatever the situation was, rest. I invite your current self to reach out to that young self who is getting those messages, who is learning to disconnect, other rest. And just letting her, him, them know that you see them. Head. That you know it was a tough time. Inside of the eyebrows. And anything else that your young self might have needed to hear outside of the eyes. Breathe under the eyes and repeat after me. Under and above the lips, hi, young me. Under the collarbone, I feel you. Middle of the sternum, I'm so proud of you. Ribs, for doing whatever you needed to do. Side of the body to survive. Wrist, it got us far. Other wrist, and we can hang on to this as long as we want to. Head, as long as we need to. Inside of the eyebrows, and it's possible it's safe. Outside of the eyes, to reconnect. Under the eyes, deep breath. Under and above the lips. It wasn't safe then, under the collarbone, but it is now. Middle of the sternum. And it doesn't have to look like anybody else. Good. Tapping on the ribs, breathe. And checking in, and if it feels like the young self feels seen and heard, you can pause in the tapping. And feels ready to let go of whatever strategy you developed to feel safe. That might have involved disconnecting from trusting yourself, trusting your needs, trusting your body, whatever that looked like at the time. And let's imagine we're holding that coping strategy in our hands. And if they're not ready, you can keep doing the first part of this tapping video. But otherwise, let's just honor this coping strategy that you developed at the time. I'm recognizing that it really served a purpose then, and maybe it no longer serves a purpose. So let's release it to energy and light, shake it out. Cutting any cord still tying you to that, you can release it this way, brushing off your body. Then calling back into your crown, the part of you that's connected, that knows full permission to hear and to reclaim your own way of knowing, however that is, knowing this is an exploration, a journey. Bring that into your whole body. And if you stay tuned in the next video, we're going to be going on a little journey to meet a guide who can help you reconnect to your inner knowing, show you through this process, and tapping all over your body, shaking it out. And I'd love to hear your particular blocks to your knowing and the ways that you connect. They might be really different. They might be ones that I never thought of. And if you want to know more about working one-on-one with me, all of the information is down below. Thank you so much.